Hey, Tony guys here. Now listen to me. I want to talk about this because it's a lot of things I keep seeing. I just seen today. They say it was old, but it's a brother Polite, who they say was doing stuff to a 14-year-old, and just being a man and just thinking about that. And I have to always ask myself, instead of judging people, I'll put myself in their shoes, and I ask myself, and I say, okay, now what in the world, like, where would I have to be mentally, spiritually, emotionally to do something to a 14-year-old as a grown man? I think they say he's 37 or 30, something like that. And I realized I would have to be spiritually bankrupt, meaning no relationship with the one and true God, the Almighty. No relationship. Would have to be power drunk. Would have to be turned out from pornography and promiscuity. Will have to be so far removed from character, integrity, dignity, in order to be in that space and to go through with that situation. And also just to show what I got a lesson from the story, and you don't know what's true and what's fake and all of that, but let's just say this thing is real, because it is a lot of times real and it's happening somewhere. But on the report from 2021 or whatever, whenever it was, they say that he asked the mom, could he take her daughter, her 14-year-old daughter, to the club and an after party. So the 14-year-old must look 18 at least, because even the club people will be like, what you doing in here? Like, this is a little girl. Like, well, you can't bring no little girl in no club, bro. And then, like, people would know his name. And so now if the mom, they say the mom said yeah, and that really speaks to the state of a lot of women who are so desperate and so lost and so broken and so hurting and so confused that they will offer up their daughter to a man. That also speaks to the relationship between a lot of mothers and daughters, the love-hate relationship. It also speaks to the desperation of single mothers. A lot of single mothers, and I see this all the time, and I want y'all to be wise and to be careful. Stop worrying about having a man. Stop worrying about having love. And I know you say, oh, well, Tony, that's easier said than done when you're in a relationship and you're not lonely and you're not doing stuff on your own. Listen, live with the life that you have and be okay with that life, because it comes from choices that you have made, and do not continue to make bad choices. So if you chose a man or men who were not real men and they walked out on you and they left you as a single mother, do not continue to make bad choices. Take your time, learn from your mistakes, and realize that your focus needs to be on your children. Because if the man is not going to be a man, you have to accept responsibility because it's your child, and vice versa. If a woman ain't gonna be a woman, the man got to accept responsibility because it's his child. But one thing that I try to help women understand is that if you have a daughter, you cannot trust a man around your daughter. And yes, there have been times where it's been great stepfathers, great bonus dads, but I'm telling you, it's the other way around more often than not. As men, we get turned out. We get turned out. No boundaries, no self-respect, no self-love. Promiscuity is promoted amongst men. It's promoted, it's praised, it's rewarded. How many women can you sleep with? And that is a demonic spirit, and it opens us up to more prophilia. And that's not a word, but what that means is nastiness. It opens us up to more nastiness. And I want you to understand, never in my life, I don't care if it's a pastor, I don't care if it's a preacher, I don't care if it's the priest, I don't care if it's the greatest man that you've ever known. Never in my life would I trust a man around my daughter. Never in my life. Never in my life would I leave my daughter around a man that is not her biological father. If I was a woman. Now, as a man, if I had a daughter, I wouldn't leave my daughter around now man. Now man. Do you hear me and understand me? Now man. The only chance I would take is with my father. And I would not take that chance with my father if my father ever used drugs, or if he was a drunk, like he drank, or if he smoked weed, if he got nasty magazines, nasty movies. If my father was not a pristine, pure living, all the way vetted, that I could see, feel, and know the anointing is on my father, that's the only way I'll leave my daughter with my father. I wouldn't leave my daughter with my uncle, with my grandfather, with my brother. None of that. Do you hear me? And see, women think this crazy, except for the women who have been touched. Except for the women who have been touched. And the women who have been touched by their granddaddy. I know women who have been touched by their daddy. By their daddy. And this what I try to tell y'all is that these men, we under attack. But see, we under different type of attack. Every man not gonna be under attack. So me being a married man, let me tell you where I'm under attack. I'm under attack with my wife. I'm under attack in the sense of me being the man that I preach and promote. Not about faithfulness. I don't get tried in that area because unfortunately I was promiscuous before marriage. So I done seen it all, done it all. That don't entertain, that don't do nothing for me. My challenge, my attack is being a true servant of God toward my wife, meaning making sure that my communication is right, making sure that I'm saying, that I'm expressing myself the right way, making sure that I'm not being too controlling, that I'm not being too domineering. That's where my attack is making sure that I continuously am conscious of creating a safe space for my wife, but yet still being a man, being real, being a leader, being who God called me to be, and knowing that not everything that God tells me to do is going to be comfortable for my wife. Meaning, I may be instructed to save in this season, to not do this in this season, to not go here in this season. And that may not be comfortable. My wife might not like it initially, but because he made her for me, then she will hear me and know that I am listening to God, and that she will join me in this instruction from the Lord. And so that's what my attack is. But see, men who not married, men who aren't relationship coaches, they may be attacked in another area. For some men, it's going to be money. For some men, it's going to be all money. It's going to be They have access. Like, let's say a pastor say, hey, I can't cheat. Let's say a pastor say, I can't cheat. Too big in the spotlight. But let's say he taking the church money. He tempted to use the church money for personal things. You know, Louis Vuitton, Audemars Rolex, private jet for family trips, not ministry trips, family trips, letting his homeboy use the jet that the church, on the church dime, for his homeboy to go visit his girlfriend in California from North Carolina. Like, some men gonna be tested with money. Some men gonna be tested with pedophilia. Some men gonna be tested with adultery. Some men gonna be tested with fornication if they're not married. See, the test is going to come. The test gonna come. That's why you have to rid your life. You gotta crucify the flesh. You gotta consecrate yourself. And you have to every single day be focused on being better today than you were yesterday. Like right now today, I'm focusing. I'm like, how can I be a better husband and a better father than I was yesterday? How can I do better today than I did yesterday? Yesterday, did I look at me a set of hams? Okay, yeah, seen me a set of hams. Lusted in my spirit. Lord, forgive me for lusting, Lord. In the name of Jesus, forgive me for lusting. And Lord, give me the strength to keep my eyes up and not be looking at these hams that's swinging around me today. And listen, I go to war with that. I go to war with that. Lord, keep these eyes up. Cause these hams around here is woo. And Lord, you know I'm still young enough. You hear me? Every single day. Whereas a lot of times the mistake that so many men make, especially in leadership, is getting complacent. It's nothing wrong with a little gambling on DraftKings. Oh, it's nothing wrong with a little lottery. Oh, it's nothing wrong with a little pornography. I'm doing better by watching porn than going out and sticking my thing in a woman. So ain't nothing wrong with this porn. Oh, ain't nothing wrong with lusting after this woman's booty. It's better to me look at her and lust at her booty than to go shoot my shot at her or to go sleep with her. See, that's what we'll get up and do, is we'll get complacent in sin because it appears to be a less consequential sin than an alternative sin that we could be doing. So we console ourselves and we comfort ourselves with just what we call a little bit of sin. But as the Bible says, a little bit of leaveneth the whole lump. But see, the problem with Brother Polite is he stepped out against God. He started bashing Christianity. He started bashing Christianity, bashing God, and going against the Holy Bible. He removed all kind of protection, all kind of wisdom, all kind of discretion, and all he was left with is book smarts. But he didn't write the books. He reading stuff and then regurgitating it, and it ain't his knowledge and he can't prove it. And so what happened is when you start to curse God and you start to speak against God and you start to speak against these things, when you start to do this, now you go into spiritual warfare and now you under attack. And so the devil gonna use you until you no longer useful for his agenda. And then he's going to expose you and he's going to use you to show something because he knows that it's going to be a string of men. I saw men in the comments protecting and defending this brother amongst these allegations. And I believe the allegations because anybody that goes against God and speaks against Christianity, it's like, if you don't want to be a Christian, fine. But how you going to speak against something that millions of people believe in and have witness and testimony of the realness of Jesus Christ? So let me tell you like this right here. I don't know Buddha. I don't know the Allah that Muslims talk about. I know God, whose son is Jesus Christ. I don't know Allah. But if they say that that's real and that's their region, their experience, their whatever, I'm not fixed to argue with them. Hey, you grown, make a choice. I'm Christian. I believe in Christ. I have been redeemed. I have been saved. I have numerous experiences and examples that let me know Christ is real. But if you don't believe Christ is real and you believe in this over here, that's that gold statue with that stomach on it that you praying to, God bless you. God bless you. Go right ahead. I know I'm in the truth and the life. God bless you. I ain't finna curse nobody else, God, and do all of that, because the Bible tell you not to argue about that kind of stuff. The Bible tell you not to be arguing with people about your religion and doing all of that, because it's just gonna be foolishness. Believe what you believe, walk in it, stand on it, represent it, and let that be your witness. The Bible tell you don't be praying in public. Don't be in the street praying like the Pharisees. You ain't got to do all of that. The Bible say go in your closet, pray in private, and God gonna exalt you and bless you in public. And then people gonna ask you how you exalted, how you blessed, how this and that, how this and that. And then you get to tell them about Jesus Christ. And that's where so many Christians going wrong. And that's why we making Christianity look like a mockery. We're making a mockery of Christianity because we're not reading the Bible to see how we supposed to be moving as Christians. So then it make the people like the Brother Polites and the Dr. Umars believe that Christianity ain't real. But then you see what them brothers get into. They got Brother Polite touching kids. Then they have Dr. Umar had released the text messages with the scrippers, sleeping with scrippers. It's like, if you are wise, if you got wisdom, then wisdom gonna tell you that you can't go pluck no woman off no pole and stick your thing in her and think that's finna be a secret. Wisdom gonna tell you to get a woman who has integrity, who has healed or is healing, who respect her body, respect her mind, who is willing to sacrifice, who is willing to work, who is of age. And then you build with her, you love her, you work through the kinks, you work through the issues, you marry her, you have children, or you adopt children, you expand your lineage, you span your legacy, you teach what you know, and you represent dignity, class, respect, love. See, so many men want a platform and want money and want praise and want accolades, but don't want discipline, don't want character, don't want integrity, don't want responsibility. There are boundaries in life. There are rules in life. Don't let your smarts make you think that you bigger than the law, that you bigger than the rules, that you bigger than God. Stop calling yourself a God. You're not a God. A man is not a God. God is God. Man is man. When you feel like and you calling yourself a God, that's what make you think you could touch on children. That's what make you think you could go sleep with strippers and prostitutes and porn star, because you think you is above reproof. You think you are above correction. And when you think you above correction and you're not working on yourself every single day, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I have not been exposed for my flaws and for the things that I do not do right. For the things, the mistakes, I'm going to tell you why. Because there is a thing called grace. But see, if you take grace for granted, grace will run out. See, the reason why men is getting exposed is because they are falling into sin and not repenting. See, God tell us that every man will fall short of the glory of God. God already know that. That's why we have grace. That's why Christ died on the cross. But see, if you do not accept your grace and repent and go and sin no more, like Jesus told that lady when he forgave her of her sin, he said, go and sin no more. He didn't say, go and sin as much as you want because you got unlimited grace. Jesus didn't say that. Jesus didn't say, go and sin again tomorrow, sin diligently, sin consistently, sin intentionally, sin however you want to sin, because nothing you do will have any repercussions and you're going to be straight. Guess what? If Jesus said that, then Carl Lentz, a Hillsong, would have never got exposed. There was a man named Chris Hill, T.D. Jakes pastor in Denver, wouldn't have got exposed. You see what I'm telling you? These pastors wouldn't get exposed if grace could be abused. You can't abuse God's grace. You can't abuse God's goodness. You got to know what you call to. So every man done fell short of the glory of God. I done fell short of the glory of God. But you know what I do? When I fell short of the glory of God, when I fall short of the glory of God, when I don't talk to my wife the way I'm supposed to talk to my wife, if I ain't treat my wife the way I'm supposed to treat my wife, if I worded something a little too harsh, a little too real, God will convict my spirit, and then all right. Baby, hey, I'm sorry for, saying that the way I said that. I could have worded that a little better. Even though I didn't curse, even though I didn't yell, even though I didn't call no name, it's sometimes just your tone. It's your delivery. But see, when you walk with God, you're going to be made aware of that. When you walking with yourself, you walking with demons. When you denounce God, you walking with demons. And guess what? When you walking with demons, you can't hear. You can't hear, and you're going to be led astray. Hey, this Tony, guys. I come up here to get my little shake for breakfast this morning. God bless y'all. We'll be in touch. Hey, keep your head up. Keep living right. Keep holding these folks accountable. The reason why I'm speaking, the reason why I'm calling names, I don't normally call names, but I'm going into a new season. I'm going into a new season where if you in the public and you chasing clout and you want your name to be known, then I'm going to say your name. Because if you was behind closed doors, if you was sinning in private, if you weren't trying to be famous, if you weren't trying to get money off of people, if you weren't trying to do all this and that there, then I ain't gonna say your name. But if you want to be famous and you want to lead people astray, then I'm calling you out by name. I'm calling you out by name. And if you got a problem with it, holler at me. Holler at me. And we could talk about it. And if you want to be public and you want to be famous and you want to be all of that, we could talk about it publicly. Because it's time to draw a line in the sand. I'm tired of these fakes. I'm tired of these demonic-laden, demonic-ridden, demonic-driven men coming out here, opening their mouth and leading people astray, trying to upend the work that God is doing, trying to harm and hurt people, men and women alike, with your financial scams, with all your business scams, with your religious scams, with all these kind of scams, instead of getting out here, creating honest products and making honest money with an honest message, talking about what you know about, what you believe, what has changed your life, what has got you on the straight and narrow, what got you living right with morals and integrity, got you doing the right thing and trying to grow every day. Trying to grow every day. We all gonna make mistakes. We all gonna make mistakes. I hired a young lady and made too many promises. Hey, we'll order lunch. You ain't got no ride, so we'll pay for the Uber. Next thing I know, after a weekend, I say, Lord, this here budget here ain't gonna work. I had to go to the young lady and say, listen, unfortunately, I'm only gonna be able to pay this amount right here on the Uber. And as far as lunch, we're going to have to cut that out, because when I gave some rope and said, hey, you could order a lunch, instead of ordering a $10, $12 lunch, it was a $40 lunch being ordered. So I had to realize, like, okay, when you give human this kind of rope. So then what I learned from that, Tony, think things through and count the cost before you open your mouth. So that's a strike against me. That's a strike against me. Because now nothing was in writing, nothing was signed, and on any job, we all know as adults on any job, policies and things change. You could sign up for a job and the next thing you know, they say, hey, well, now we need you to come in at 8 o'clock instead of 8:30. And now we're going to be doing this right here. For lunch is going to be 45 minutes instead of an hour. And now we're going to have you work 3 days, 10 hours or 12-hour days, and then you'll be off the rest. Things change. But guess what? I learned a lesson from that. Even in small stuff like that. That ain't got nothing to do with my kids, ain't got nothing to do with my wife, ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But I still learned a lesson from that. A lady wrote in not long ago. She said, Tony, I had a session in 2021. And it was $600 because she did a VIP session. And she said, I don't feel like you gave me enough insight. I don't feel like you listened enough. I don't feel like, you know, if it feel like you wasn't all the way there. And when I thought about that thing, I say, nah, had she wrote in the next day, or even that week, I just gave her money back. She waited 2-3 years, and she probably seen somebody online get exposed for something, and it triggered her and got mad, or maybe she needs some money and she wrote in and say that. But at this point, I can't even verify what she's saying. I don't know. And then too, it could have just been a thing to where I could have been out of it. I could have been tired. I could have been, I'm one man serving millions of people. I could have been tired. It could have been a bad day. Michael Jordan had bad games. Everybody had a bad day. It could have been that. Had she told me the next day or the next week, then I would have said, okay, hey, thank you. You know what? That day I was going through. That day I was down. You know, I'm a human. I ain't a robot. I ain't a machine. But I learned from that. So now, even though that was from 2 years ago, now, since I read that, I've been, okay, let me, on this here call, let me not read a text message. Let me not look at an email. Let me be 100% locked in, because I got a lot going on, and I'm serving a lot of people, and everybody write me, hey, Tony, can I get on your schedule for this? Can I get on your schedule for that? And that ain't just the public. It's also friends and family. Hey, when can we get on a call? Hey, when can we catch up? I get so many people that I'm being pulled in a million ways, and my main focus in life is my wife and my kids. And after my wife and my kids, I really don't have any time. After my wife and my kids, I really don't have any time. I ain't got time to have clients, but just trying to be accessible. And also trying to be business minded and saying, well, Tony, if people are willing to work with you as a coach, why would you cut that off and cut that access to you off? And that's also helping feed your family. So be humble. Instead of saying, oh, I know I don't talk to nobody. Now it's season where I cut off sessions because I need to lock in. I need to write a book. I need to focus more. I need to do something else. But the key, what I'm trying to tell you is, every single day I'm analyzing myself. Where can I grow? How can I get better? How can I live a more disciplined and strict life, a more responsible life? How can I be a better Christian, a better husband, a better father? And what's happening is we got men that's getting in position of leadership and power, and they're getting complacent. They're getting complacent. They're getting comfortable. They're getting greedy. They're getting selfish, and they stop working on themselves. And all they want to do is have a loud mouth, have a platform, be running their mouth, be praised, and be paid, but don't want to work on themselves in the dark. We have to work on ourselves behind closed doors, when nobody is looking, when there's no check attached to the work that's being done privately, and we got to be willing to do it. Hey, this Tony Gasson. See, I'm sitting out here working. I done went 30 minutes. I was just planning to just do this video on the way to here, but God bless you. We'll talk soon.